ahead and start. All right.
Okay.
Woo! Okay. Week 1 of our Align study group. We're calling this Align. What was it? Align Strategizers. So it's just me and Lacey here. But Lacey, for some reason, can't. We have no audio of her. She said, 1 second. I think she's trying to get on a different way. She has a super cool filter though, which is really fun. But I guess I'll just go ahead and start, and hopefully Lacey can start chiming in some thoughts here soon. And I would love to have more of you on here because it's hard to have a discussion with just, well, I mean, me and Lacey might have a great discussion, but it would be even better if you were here too. So anyways, I'm sorry, and Aaron's in the other room. Let's see if we can hear you this way.
Get back to you today.
Okay. Let's see if I can hear you, Lace.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
I'm going to try to, nope.
Can you hear me?
You're not muted on my end, so I don't know.
Really?
I still can't hear you. Oh my gosh, hang on. Okay, talk.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, how hilarious. Okay, I had my volume turned down. Sorry, that was me. Now you can go back to your other thing if you wanted to be on there instead.
That's okay.
Your filter was super fun though, just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, Lacey, let's talk about time blocking and chaos management. Who doesn't want more peace in their life, right? This is so cool. Okay, so for the sake of time, we're going to try to keep this under 30 minutes. I will just go ahead and kind of read through here, and there's a bunch of questions we can ask ourselves. And then there's like a strategy how to plan your day and break it down and allow rest. And then so hopefully we can get through it all. So steps to owning your time and having a life. Oh my goodness. Some of the notes that I had written while we were up there, and Brooke spoke on this for just a little bit, is like stop self-sabotaging and remove chaos from my identity. So I know those were some important thoughts that I had while she was going through here, because I remember, you know, with all the mindset training that we've been doing lately, one of the like words that I would use to describe my life was overwhelmed. Consistently, that was one of the first words that popped up in my head. Overwhelm. And I wouldn't say so much chaos, but I just always told myself I was overwhelmed. And what I've learned is I can remove that from my identity and realize that I actually am I'm the one in charge of my days. And since I've started implementing some of these exercises and time blocking, it's gotten so much better. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it yet, but I have got certain parts of it down to where I feel like I can say that I've removed overwhelm from my identity and chaos from my identity. And it feels amazing. And I'm accomplishing more and feeling less stressed out. So that would be my encouragement to you. If this is something that you struggle with as well. And so I'll read 11 steps here. And so the number 1 is download every weekend. And what she says she does is she sits down every Sunday night, and she sits down with her calendar, her family calendar, her Plexus calendar, and she goes through and tries to get everything in one place that's important to her. And so having that plan ahead of time. Okay, so she does that at the end of the month. She downloads the whole entire next month, as much as she possibly can. Then every weekend, she downloads the following week into her calendar. And we're talking everything, like I said, family, church, like downtime, playtime, Plexus, all of that. And then she revisits it every night when she, like, that's part of her nighttime routine, is that she'll download her, like, take a look at her next day. Family collaboration. Where are we going? Oh, where'd you get that, Lacey? I like that.
I'm sorry. It's on that Align booklet.
Oh!
Talking about it. I just barely cracked it today.
Did you print that yourself or did you take it in?
I took it
I
to
was trying
Steve
to decide. You took it to Steamroller?
Miller. Well, I emailed it to him and then they just did it.
How much did that cost to print that out? I need to do that.
Like $14.
Nice. Yeah, that's way better than printing it at home probably, huh? Okay, I need to get that done. That's awesome. So she included that in. I'm guessing she's kind of elaborating on this same training. Okay. And then here's one thing that I really liked. Oh, not quite. So then you sort by importance and priority. So prioritize things in order, and then attach a feeling to each activity. Does it drain you, excite you, or is it just a neutral feeling attached to it? And you'll notice in this, she gave us some blank planning sheets to plan your day. This one where it says planning your day brain dump, you'll notice it says END right here. And so you can just jot down the things that you do every day. And then does that energize you? Is there neutral feelings behind it, or does it drain you? And you want to make sure, she says that this is really important for your well-being, that you don't ever stack your draining activity on top of another draining activity. So you want to break those up throughout the day. So that way you're feeling energized and motivated all throughout the day. If we put, draining activities together, then that's too much. So I loved that concept. Put everything in its place to calm the chaos in your mind. Your brain can then relax. So if we can get everything down on paper and then assign a place to it, then it's amazing how much more like that you don't feel stressed out. There's a plan and organization. So number 7 is set timers when you sit down to do tasks and give yourself a time block. So time blocking is something that I'm just learning to love, which is really surprising to me because I'm by nature just a pretty spontaneous person. And maybe that's just me telling myself that, because maybe that's an excuse for not feeling organized. But what I've found is the more and more I'm like implementing time blocking and planning my days ahead of time, and I started meal planning. I know if you guys are on, if you were on Liza's call, I'm going to mute you, Meg. Welcome, but
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just going to mute you so it'll be nice and clear. I mentioned with Liza that I even started meal planning a week out, and so every Sunday night, like I'm planning the meals for the whole week and what I need to buy at the grocery store for all those meals, and just make sure that I have all of that taken care of. And it's been so cool. My family's like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I don't think you've made dinner this much in the past year." They said that after the first couple weeks.
There's an app called Emails, and it does it. I mean, you can go in there and choose it, but then it puts all your list together and it puts it into your Walmart shopping cart, like where you Walmart pick up. You're talking, you're not like figuring out like ingredients, but you also don't have to go shop. You just go pick it all up for the week.
I just used that for the first time this week, the Walmart pickup, and I hate Walmart. I'm sorry to those of you that love Walmart. I hate Walmart.
Oh.
So I fought it forever. But if I don't have to set foot in the store, I think I can like Walmart. It was my first time using it, and I didn't even have to get out of my car. Like, they totally loaded my groceries in the back seat. I tried to give her a tip, and she said they weren't even allowed to accept tips. But I was like, this is the best thing ever. It just saved myself like 2 hours. I love it.
Oh, totally.
So there's another tip for time management is you utilize that Walmart grocery pickup or find one wherever you are, whatever, to cut down on stress and give yourself more time. That was, yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out because I remembered I wanted to share about that. But anyways, back to time blocking. Guys, I have this planner. This was actually gifted to me by Mindy Ballard on our team, who is so sweet, and I just adore her. She gifted to me this planner called the Passion Planner. If you guys have never heard of it, I absolutely love it. It's got, well, so this is the type of planner I love. Like, there's enough room that I can write in the things every day, the main things. And then there's a ton of sections in the back where you can time block. So do you see how you can, it's Monday through Sunday here, where you can go through and time block, and it's got this week's focus. And then like you can write good things that happen. And then down at the bottom, it's got like personal to-do list, work to-do list, and then space of infinite possibility where you could just write like brain dumps and stuff. This is really, really helpful when it comes to time blocking and all of that. And at the end of each month, like after each month, there's a monthly reflection where it asks you all these questions, and it gives you an end of month checklist where you highlight your accomplishments and reform, set checkpoints. Like if I were to really use this thing the way it's intended to be used, and I'm starting to use it more and more, then it is incredible. So just a thought, like if you're shopping for a planner for next year, this Passion Planner I love. Maybe you have other suggestions. If you do, then feel free to share them. But I will tell you, time blocking has been huge for me. Something I never thought that I would want to do because I've always just kind of labeled myself as a spontaneous person. In fact, it's funny. I don't know if you noticed, but when I do Zooms, I'm going to be, sometimes I'm in the dining room, sometimes I'm in my kitchen, sometimes I'm in my office. Like I have an amazing office downstairs, but it energizes me to be able to like work in different places. It makes me feel like it's my choice. I don't know what it is, but we learned about this once in Hawaii in a personality training, but so I just assumed like time blocking would feel rigid to me and like I wasn't making my own choices. But what I found is it's quite the opposite. I feel like I'm accomplishing more with less stress. And so I feel like I have more free time to do what I want to do, and it feels good. So that's a tangent that I just went off on. Sorry about that. Okay, so stop avoiding specific tasks. If you put something in a time slot, don't exchange it for something else you'd rather do. This does not bring peace. And this is something that I have learned over and over and over again by bad example, I guess. That doesn't bring peace. I think that that's something we need to remind ourselves often is, you know, when we have that slot scheduled for follow-up or call this customer that is on the verge of quitting. I don't know if that's hard for you guys, but I'm like, I'll get to that time slot and I'll be like, oh, but you know what? The chickens really need some treats right now. Or whatever. Like I find excuses. And then next thing I know, I've used that time and I haven't addressed what was important there. And that does not bring peace, I will tell you, because then you're just more stressed and you're like, well, crap. Now, it makes you feel like a failure. It makes you feel upset at yourself. So don't let that happen. And it takes practice because we have to have some grace with ourselves and like remember that this is practice makes perfect. This is something we're learning and we're mastering as we go. But anyways, create buffer time in case something does come up that you're not able to work around. And then create family time. I think that's so important. To create downtime, so important, so we can feel full, fulfilled, like we talked about this a lot at the Align retreat, is how important it is to, like, self-care is huge. As moms, we tend to feel guilty about self-care and we don't schedule it in. We don't want to spend the money on ourselves. I know, I'm sure that many of you can relate to this, but how critical it is for us to be able to, you can't pour from an empty cup. We've heard that a million times. It's so true. So here's some questions. When you feel like you don't have enough time, what is really going on? That sounds like a Preston question right there.
Yeah.
And what I discovered for me is I wasn't planning my days. I was just letting my days happen and trying to put out fires as things happened. What's urgent? What's most important for me? What do I need to do? What do I have to do today? And that feels stressful. So I was waking up and I would feel like just this sense of stress when I woke up. Like, as soon as my brain came to, then I was going through this mental list of what are the most important things that I need to do today. And it felt chaotic. I wasn't enjoying my mornings. I wasn't going into my days feeling motivated or inspired. Quite the opposite. So what I've done, I just want to share this because I don't want to be the whole one talking here. So jump in whenever you want, guys. But I did start a morning routine that fulfills me so much. And I look forward to my mornings so much now. And it's just helping me feel motivated and inspired throughout the day. And so I'm a morning person. So my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and my alarm says, like, you're blessed, go be a blessing, or it says something like that. So I turn on my lamp and I sit there in my bed for a full hour and 15 minutes where all I do is just study my scriptures, do my come follow me, spend some time in gratitude. I use that app that I showed you guys, the Grateful app, and like just kind of review my plan for the day. And it feels so good. And so I wake up like with a smile on my face. I wake up feeling motivated and inspired. And it's made a huge difference. So I've started implementing little things that are making a big difference. What I realized I haven't, there's still a lot of work to do because I have no type of nighttime routine. My nighttime routine is still stressful. It's still staying up too late and trying to get a whole bunch of things done and then just going and crashing into bed. And that's not what I want. But baby steps, we're getting there. Next question. How has your story about time impacted you over the last year? Do you feel guilty for taking time for yourself, and why? Then what activities do you start and end your day with? Very important that you start. Brooke said, she emphasized that it's so important that you start your day with activities that energize you and motivate you. So make that a huge priority if that's something that you haven't done yet. But like I said, one thing at a time, like you kind of have to make something a habit and then add another thing. You know what I mean? Are you qualifying people before they have earned your time? And this isn't just with Plexus, with leadership, with Plexus, with our customers, but also like at church with our kids. That could sound harsh, but I think that when you understand what she means by that, then it's not harsh at all.
That's a huge thing that I have a problem with sometimes, is saying I can't talk and listen to your everything all day long, people. I love you, but that's what I've had a problem with, is I let people in too much, and and then I feel guilty because I didn't get anything done, but I'm here sitting playing counselor for 2 hours on the phone.
So they're sabotaging your time and you're allowing it. Yeah.
And back in August when I was working my butt off, I told one person that like hard, I'm like, hey, I have to treat my business like it's a business and I can't sit and talk to you. I am so, and she's like, she felt like she was hurt, but like later on we're talking, I'm like, hey, we can talk, but I have to get stuff done. And then I've kind of let it creep back to me. I'm like, oh, can't answer that phone call.
Right.
Or anyway, that's something that always been a struggle with me, is I let too much in.
Yeah.
We both have kiddos.
Yeah. This is Erin's little girl, Lydia. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Look, there you are. She's so cute. She's hanging out with me. Erin's cleaning my house. I'm so blessed. Oh, I love it. Okay. That's really good, Lacey, because if you recognize that that's an area where you are, you're letting people take advantage of your time. And it's not that you don't care about them. It's really important that, as someone that has like a heart for helping people, like I know you do, that you don't see that as selfish to demand control of your own time, because it's important. You've got a lot of people, that need your help and all that, but you've got to be in control of it.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Sorry. I just wanted to say, when you guys were talking about that, I wanted to add in, and because when you guys say those things, you don't want it to come across as negative, but you have to remember, what she means by what'd she call it? Not prioritize. I don't know the word she used.
Are you qualifying people before they
qualifying
have
people?
Time?
Which that's the thing, which we're talking a lot about time. And so when you time block, there's going to be a time frame which you're doing things. So if you're with your family, that's what she means by prioritizing. Are you taking Plexus calls during that time? It's not that it's not important. It's just that you have to choose your time blocking times and take those calls and be like, I can't really talk right now, but I can talk between 2 and 4 and we can bring this back up. So then it's exactly the same thing. You're still helping the people. You're still feeling like you're doing it, but you have your time block times where you work. And if you start taking phone calls at 11 o'clock at night or randomly through the day, people take advantage of that.
And another thing that I learned that's really helpful is you can let them know what your boundaries are when you take a call. If it is a time that you are available and that you've scheduled to talk to people, then you can let them know, I've got 15 minutes. And so, I'm all yours for 15 minutes. Then I've got something else that I have to get to. And so just setting up those expectations for people, letting them know you've only got a short amount of time.
So when Lacey, though, when you say that, when you said well, I can't really talk right now because I need to get stuff done, that comes across off you're not giving your time and attention to them. But if you turn it and switch it around and say the exact same thing, but differently, just say, I actually have to do this thing right now. Let's bring this back up at a different time. And I'd love to give you my whole heart, my whole attention in this. And then during the times that you've chosen with Plexus, say that we could pick that back up. Because that sounds so much more positive and uplifting than oh, hold on.
That was more about
hello?
That was more about a friend that would call me every morning. But I'm saying, and I've had in the past, I've let people in and they've feel like I have to be their savior all 24/7.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah,
that is really helpful advice, though, Janelle. Thank you for that. Okay, we're just about out of time, so okay, let's run through the rest of these questions real quick. I'm committed to these shifts in my time management. So with the suggestions that were on the first page, which ones can you commit to? And like I said, I would just recommend focusing on 1 or 2 at a time, creating those habits before you add in more. Because we eat an elephant 1 bite at a time, right? I am committed to these shifts in my leadership time management. So that's really helpful for those of you, that are leaders, which all of you are here and have good sized team. I don't know. Will you go ask your mom right now? Okay, thanks. And then planning your day. She gave a lot of really good suggestions here. Planning the month out before the month begins, like we talked about. For major rank up months, planning begins the month before the rank up month. So I think that that's something that could be really helpful for us is to, and she gives suggestions here on rank up months, like how to plan that out. We should know it already if we did the Gold Masterminds trainings. But, you know, good to know that you put that type of a time frame on rank ups. Big rank ups is like you plan them out for it's 2 months worth of effort, focused effort, for big jumps and rank ups like that. Okay, so she gives some other things here you guys can read through on your own. And then just some really helpful stuff, how you can plan out your day and break it into personal goals, team goals, family goals, and health goals. And she gives a blank paper for time blocking. I've got one in my planner, but this is something that you could use yourself and make copies of if you wanted to, or recreate. Allowing rest. I think it's important that we highlight this real quick. Rest is important to allow time for creative thought, connection with others, and modeling behaviors for your team. Rest might mean not answering messages, taking an afternoon off, traveling with your family, taking a class, or just sitting and playing with the kids. Rest is individual and personal, but rest is necessary. Without it, you will burn out, and so will your team. So in what ways are you allowing rest right now? What fears hold you back from allowing rest? What message does this send to your team? Can you set aside specific times to create white space where you are not working or focused on any specific task? And when can you separate your time? How will it impact your peace, joy, and creativity? Decide now on non-negotiable downtime. Overworking is scarcity and the fear that if you allow rest, you will not be able to grow. It's the fear and control parts of our brains, but it simply isn't true. Whatever time you allow for work, you will fill the space. If you allow for less time and more focused time, you will actually learn to become more exact with what needs to be done because you know you have limited time. I use timers all the time. That's what Brooke says. And I know Brooke is a living example of this, guys. She shared, you know, some personal experiences with us about like where this whole align, why she felt so prompted to do these align trainings is because she was out of alignment in a big way, and how she was struggling with time management and feeling guilty about taking rest and all these things. And she lives this now. Like she really does. She schedules in family time. She schedules in workout time. She schedules in downtime. She's so good about this. And the more I'm practicing little bits and pieces of it, the more it gives me hope that like we can have more fulfillment, more success, and way less stress if we are managing our days rather than letting our days manage us. And the sooner you start this, the smaller your team, the more that allows room for growth and healthy, like a healthy feelings about your business. You know, none of us want to feel like plexus, the thought of plexus is a stressful feeling. It creates stressful feelings for us. We want it to be empowering and fulfilling and something that we enjoy. And if we are managing our days rather than letting them manage us, then that's what we can accomplish. But
I want to ask you guys this is how to implement that. Like, okay, so you have your planner, or you have a piece of paper like this with your hours on your day, or do you put it in your phones? What do you think? Like, how do you implement it? Because I don't know if I picture myself writing this down every day and then crossing it over to my phone. What do you think you'll do?
I'll write it down first, and then it's going to become natural. I mean, you're going to know the day-to-day things that you normally do and like the normal things that you have scheduled. It just becomes like a natural thing. And then you just can set timers like she does. Like, okay, I'm only going to work an hour. And the thing is, it's not necessarily scheduled. It's going to be more of a routine because life happens, and times, if you always set it for a certain amount of time and you miss it, you're going to feel bad about yourself. So I really think they should call it a routine instead of a schedule, because schedules mean certain exact times, and life just doesn't let you do exact times, especially when you have little kids and stuff like that. So that's how I feel about it. But
I'll tell you what, I've tried a few different things, and I think everyone's going to have personal preference here. What has worked the best for me is like just trying to get down everything on paper that's important that I do every day, Monday through Friday. And then I've tried, I haven't tried a lot with the to-do list app. I did play with it a little bit and insert stuff into it. I've tried writing out time blocking through the whole entire day, but I'll tell you what has worked the best for me and what I feel like I'm going to eventually get my whole day somewhat into a routine like this is I have alarms that go off on my phone that remind me that it's time to start something else. So I have it all the way up until, well, I'll just give an example. Like my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. My next alarm goes off at 5:20. That gives me a 5-minute notice that I need to finish up and then go wake up Breck and get him ready for the day. And then at like 15 minutes later, I have one that goes off for like dinner prep. 15 minutes after that, another one for a load of laundry. Then 15 minutes after that, it's go feed the horses and pigs. And 20 minutes after that, it is leave for yoga or Pilates or whatever is that day. So that might sound.
I would love to see a screenshot of your alarms.
I'll show
I
you.
totally like that, Whitney. I would totally do that. Because, I mean,
I think you need to make a post about that, really.
Okay, let me show you. I'll just show you. And see, I've got that far into it. But then what I need to do is figure out, like, after Pilates, time blocking, what I want to do. And I've thought this out. I just haven't mastered this part of it yet. But I want to schedule in like 15 minutes to call one of my 4%ers. And then 30 minutes for dough, 30 minutes for follow-up, things like that. But I haven't got that far. But that's how I see it going once I start adding more and more. But this is what look. And they all have names on them. And so when they go off, I know exactly what I'm doing next. And this is working really well for me. So I'll share it in the recording. And like I said, I as a person that fought routines and scheduling, I'm finding so much peace in this. So I think that it's really can be for anyone and everyone. So
the thing about that is like, that's a good idea for me too, but like, it's just going to be switched so many times. Cause if my child wakes up from a nap, I have to adjust my whole routine accordingly. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to wonder how that would work for someone like me. Like, I think the morning routine would work perfect, but
yeah, well, she says, so when you schedule in some, what did she call it?
Like kid playtime?
Well, no, schedule in buffer time. So you could schedule in 30 to 45 minutes of buffer time, like somewhere in your schedule. And then like, let's say that Steele wakes up early or whatever, then you use 15 minutes of that buffer time there. And then you can, during that buffer time, then you go back and do that 15 minutes that you didn't accomplish during when he would have normally
Yeah.
done something.
Or like do an extra load of laundry, or, you know, add something. If you have extra 15 minutes, you could do whatever you want to do in those 15 minutes, you know?
Right. So if you're scheduling in buffer time, then you don't have to worry about, oh, well, what if I'm not able to do that when I had it scheduled? Then you do it during your buffer time. So
And to with people with kiddos is to brain dump the night before, so when those do pop up, you know, you're not feeling guilty for being somewhere else and here and there. But
Or the fact that if you plan your time, your day the day before, because honestly, like my alarms are easily switched each day. You kind of know, like we kind of have routines of things that are going to happen. Granted, things come into play, but like the night before, you kind of know what the next day is going to typically look like. And so even though if every day is not the same, you could still use the same system that Whitney's using. I like it. I think I'm going to let's give it 2 weeks, guys. What? How many days of uncomfortableness?
to make it
3
happen.
weeks?
Yeah. So 3
3
weeks.
weeks. Let's try it for 3 weeks and see how it goes. And then let's like report.
And yeah, let's do. And the thing is, you'll figure out more and more like what you will want to change or add in as you go, because I'm already like, I've gotten that down, and now I'm recognizing that I need a good nighttime routine, because that's what's missing still. And I need a good, like, more organized work time routine, because I have like this huge block of empty workspace in the middle of the day, but it's not really organized. You know what I mean? So I'll get that where I'm going to be like, okay, so I get home from yoga at this time, and then I want to schedule in 30 minutes of dough where an alarm goes off right here. You know what I mean? So
you know what,
as you go.
You know what also you should do, Whitney, is plan like a 30-minute time during your day towards the evening in that open period to plan for the next day.
Yes.
And then don't do any plexus the rest of the day, and you're already ready to start first thing whenever you want.
Right.
So if you're already a day in advance, you can anticipate the things and you will be more productive in the times because you already know what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I think it's going to take an adjustment, but I think it'll be good for us.
And if you just start with little bits of it at a time, what you'll find is, because now that I have my morning routine down like clockwork and I've got alarms for everything's getting done, and I feel so accomplished, and it feels good. You know what I mean? There's no stress whatsoever in the mornings, because I always know what's the next step. And
you make your dinners in the morning before they even happen. So that's already set.
Well, depending on what the dinner is, but like this morning when my alarm went off, I'm making green chicken enchiladas. So I went to the pantry and I got out all of the canned goods and set them out. I put the chicken in the crock pot so it's ready to shred and that. So that makes dinner, once 4 o'clock hits and my alarm goes off to start making dinner, then I'll already, like, a lot of the prep work's already done.
You know what's amazing, Whitney, is you are a blue personality and you are becoming so organized. You've been telling yourself so long that you're unorganized, and you are actually super organized.
Oh,
isn't it crazy?
She's rocking it. She's rocking it.
I'm so proud of you.
You guys make me feel so good. Thank you.
I'm like jealous. I want to be like Whitney.
I know.
It's taken a lot of investment in mindset and Brooke's Align retreat that's gotten me here, but it feels really good.
I just don't ever want to hear you say you're unorganized, because you are organized,
I haven't
girl.
been saying that anymore.
That's awesome.
I removed that from my identity.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I could see it in your countenance.
Oh,
Megan, are you coming to Align, Megan? Oh, I can't hear you.
She's muted.
Oops, sorry. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could, but we have to replace the carpet.
Darn it.
So, convention.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Super Saturday.
Yes, I've got one of my team members, Dawn Hoisington, is coming up to go to the live with me.
Ooh.
When are you going to? You're in Texas, right?
No, I'm in North Carolina. So it's
And where?
Jennifer Reith. That's the trainer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
She's probably my favorite trainer.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn off the recording.